like the idea of trying to start on time. You're here early this morning, and we're so thrilled to have you. You have joined us for Community Living 101. This is offered obviously by Charles E. Smith Life Care Communities. Not Life Care, excuse me, Life Communities. And you're going to hear a little bit about Ring House, which is on our West Campus, which is the independent living part of Charles E. Smith Life Communities. So you're in for some really good information this morning. So we're going to jump right into it. A little bit of, again, reminders. If you do have a question, we'll open it up for Q&A at the end of the presentation. We have about 30 slides, really good information. It takes probably about 30 minutes, give or take. But we'll definitely save enough time for you to ask your individual questions. During the presentation, should you have a question and you don't want to forget it, like I typically will do, there's a chat feature. Use that chat feature at the bottom of your screen in Zoom. You just click on that chat icon and you can type the question in there and we'll answer it then. So with that, we're just going to get started. We're glad you're here. We're glad to be here. We love this. This is our passion. This is what we do, and we really enjoy doing it. We're going to present, we're going to introduce the team here so you know who everyone is. My name is Don Warfield. I'm a co-presenter. I have the honor of being a marketing partner with Charles E. Smith. And this is what I do for a living. So oftentimes I do these presentations across the country, and Charles E. Smith has asked me to partner with my associate, Maria, to do this. With that, I'll let Maria introduce herself.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Hagedorn, and I also am a co-presenter today, working with Don and Charles E. Smith Life Communities, and very excited to have you all here today.
Thank you, Maria. Now to the introductions of the team at Charles E. Smith and on the West Campus. I'll let each one of them say good morning and introduce themselves, starting with Angelique.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Angelique Jackson. I'm the Manager of Business Development and Marketing at Charles E. Smith Life Communities.
Perfect. Good morning. Thank you, Angelique. I'll move right down my screen here and let John say good morning. John?
Good morning, and ditto. Welcome, and thank you for joining us this morning. My name is John Quinn. I'm a sales counselor at Ring House. I also represent Landau House, Assisted Living, and Memory Care at Cohen Rosen, in addition to Ring House, which is independent living.
Fantastic, John. Thank you. Last, but definitely not least, Hannah.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name's Hannah Balasubramanian, and I'm also a sales counselor here at Ring House Independent Living, Landau Assisted Living, and Cohen Rosen Memory Care. So if you have any interest in any of those buildings, me or John can help you.
And I thank you. Good morning to you as well. As a reminder, if you guys mute your microphone, or Angelique, you might be able to see whose microphone is modulating, and you can mute that too. So we don't want too much background noise. But anyway, that's your team. Very friendly people. They don't bite, as you can see. I hope you come to the community for a tour and meet with Hannah, John, or even Angelique as a backup. Here's our agenda. It's a real simple agenda today. We want to share with you, educate you a little bit on senior living. That's why we call it Community 101. Kind of go back to your college days where you took those 100 level classes and you got the basic foundation of what senior living is. We'll share a little bit of terminology. We speak this language all the time, and sometimes we assume that when you, as a future prospect, come in, that you understand what we're saying, and that's not fair. So we'll go over some terminology. We'll talk to you a little bit about your community living options, what's available. The good news, my friends, is there's a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of great communities. The bad news, my friends, there's a lot of communities out there. And how do you determine which one is right for you? Well, we're going to help you do that today. And then the team, John and Hannah, would love to help you do that one-on-one as you start this process. Maybe you're already into the process of looking for your future move. Or maybe you're just getting rolling now and you want an advocate, someone that knows the industry and knows the market well. Well, that's Hannah and John. So, and then what is Charles E. Smith and what do they have to offer, and why does it make the best option in terms of a lifestyle? And then we'll open it up for questions and answers. So we'll just get right into it. Here's a kind of an odd question to start. I get it. I mean, why are they starting and ask right away? How old are you? What's your biological age? And there's a reason we're asking this. And then how old do you feel inside? Because we know as we our biological age is something that we absolutely, that's our age. But when you ask anyone, 9 times out of 10, if I say I'm 58, I'm going to tell you I'm 58, but inside I still feel like I'm 38, because what I have in my head, what I enjoy doing, who I am as a person is really enjoyable 20 years ago than what I am. So we know as we age, and our biological age climbs a little bit, our age and how we feel inside is different. And this is really important as we go through this journey with folks that decide they're going to make a move, why Ringhouse and Charles C. Smith might be the right community. Now, we know this based on research. Older adults generally feel about 10 to 30 years younger than their chronological age. It just is. And if I had ability, if we were in front of you right now, since we're on a Zoom, it's hard to do, but if we were at Charles E. Smith and I asked you, how many of you folks feel 10 years younger than your body? Hands would go 15, 20, even back 30 years. And that's important. What does that mean for all of us? But what does that mean for Charles E. Smith and communities like Charles E. Smith that cater to those needs? Well, that means we have to offer you a lifestyle of the things that you enjoy doing, amenities of the things you enjoy taking advantage of, because inside you feel younger. And that's what helps make you make a decision to move to a community like Charles C. Smith. This is why we bring this up right away, because we all know no matter what, we tend to feel much younger than our biological age. So with that, let's jump into some definitions. I mentioned we would share with you some terminology, educate you on things you need to understand. Again, you may already know some of this, but we want to make sure we have the foundation of understanding. So we call this Community Living 101 terminology. We often hear this phrase, continuum of care. What does that mean? People say we're a community that offers the continuum of care, or maybe we're talking to our social groups and folks say, I'm moving to a community that offers a continuum of care. Well, what does that mean? Continuum of care refers to care services that cover a spectrum of needs for you at a single location. And what that means is that I can make another move, or one good move, and I know that I have access to a continuum of care. I may be moving to independent living, and I assume the majority of you on this call today are considering a move to independent living, and you may be living independent today. So when I moved to independent living at Charles E. Smith, there's a continuum of care, which means if life selects for me, as I say, picks on me, and I need assisted living, or maybe I have some cognitive decline, or maybe my spouse does, or maybe I need 24-hour skilled nursing, it's on the same campus. It's there available to me. It's easy access because I already live there. That's what we mean by the continuum of care. And that may be a great value for some out there that know, hey, I'm planning for the future and I can make one good move and answer life's what ifs. We're not implying that everyone's going to need the continuum of care, knock on wood. I hope I don't ever need to. But if I'm going to make a good move for independent living, enjoy the quality of life that I like, because inside I feel 20 years younger, but as I age, I might need more care. It's good to know it's on the same campus. Rental communities, you're going to hear this. You may have already heard this. And Charles E. Smith at Ringhouse is a rental community. And what a rental community means is there's no contractual commitment other than a month-to-month lease. You're not signing away your commitment for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Rental communities fees include full services. You still pay a monthly service fee, but you get all the services, all the amenities. And rental communities can be for-profit and not-for-profit. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But they offer a full range of amenities, such as dining is included to a degree, housekeeping, fitness. You have access to a fitness center. You have access to wellness, spa, hair salon, and so much more. And we'll tell you a little bit more about Charles E. Smith. Maria's going to talk about that. But when we speak about rental communities, that's what you want to understand. Now, when you look at the right side of the screen here, we start talking about independent living. And that's, hopefully, first and foremost, that's what we're talking about today. But we do have residents that move directly into assisted living. And we have residents that do move directly into memory care. But in this case, we're going to talk a little bit about independent living. Where you live today, whether you're in a single family home, maybe you're in an apartment already, maybe you downsized to a condo. Independent living and senior living has 3 varieties of options, typically apartments, villas, and cottages. You're still living independently. You're still making all your decisions, but you have a lot of service and amenities that are covered for you in independent living. Here at Ring House on the campus of Charles E. Smith Life Communities, we offer apartment style living. Assisted living, as I mentioned, assisted living is also available. It's amplified package of where lifestyle is enhanced by assistance with daily activities living. Now you're still independent. We try to keep you independent as possible, but maybe you need some help with some activities to daily living. So that's assisted. And certainly many of you understand what memory care, and that's for folks that might need some support with cognitive decline. You're still living in your own private apartment, whether you're in memory care or assisted living. We still try to enhance as best possible your independence, even though you're getting some assistance with cognitive decline. All right. If there's a question that pops in, someone keep an eye on the chat. If something does come up and there's a particular question on something, I'm happy to stop and answer that, or the team can as well. So let's talk a few terms as they relate to independent living. As you're doing your research and you're considering someone like Charles E. Smith in the Ring House or the competition in the greater Rockfield and Bethesda area, you have a lot of options out there. What you're going to often hear is people will say to John or Hannah, or even in my experience over 12 years of doing this, are you a buy-in? Are you an entrance fee? What are you? Well, in senior living industry, we call them entrance fees. There are communities out there that require an entrance fee for you to move into. And those entrance fees can range from $100,000 to $1 million plus. It depends on the community, depends on where you're moving. And it's a large upfront entrance fee that you pay. Now, some of those entrance fees are non-refundable entrance fees, meaning you pay them, and over the course of time you live there and you leave, whatever way you leave, they're not refunded. And some entrance fees do have refundable options. For independent living, we also already mentioned there's rental options, rental communities like Ring House, and that's another option as well. On the independent side, another term that you're going to get familiar with, I mentioned it earlier, is monthly service fee. And with the monthly service fee, oftentimes we'll hear it, and I know John and Hannah hear this, is what's the rent? How much is the rent? In senior living, we refer to it the monthly service fee because it's more than just the rent. In a rent, when you live in an apartment, you rent and pay a fee, but you also pay for all your utilities and maintenance. Well, here in senior living, a monthly service fee does far more than the rent. So the monthly service fee is what is paid monthly for your apartment home. And the fee provides all the services and amenities of the community and what we have to offer. And again, my friend Maria will be sharing some of that. What determines how much you pay? And we're not going to go over cost today. We're hoping that if you're interested in learning more, that you're going to reach out to John and Hannah and schedule the one-on-one where they'll sit down and go over the fees. But monthly service fees are determined by two variables. Typically, the size of the apartment you want to move into, a studio, a 1-bedroom, or 2-bedroom, and how many people are moving in. If my wife and I are moving into a 2-bedroom apartment at Ring House, we're going to pay the monthly fee for that room, monthly service fee, and then we're going to pay a little bit extra because there's 2 of us moving in. Versus if I'm moving in by myself, I don't pay a second person fee on the monthly service fee. So if you look on the right side, we broke it down on Ring House. Ring House is our independent living rental community on the West Campus at Charles E. Smith. There is no entrance fee to move in. We'll let you keep as much of your money, your investments invested and working on your behalf. We're not going to require a large entrance fee to move in. There's no long-term commitment, although we find out when people move into Ring House, they stay there because there's so much to be offered and so much to enhance your life and so much is taken care of for you. You're not paying for healthcare that you may or not need. So in an entrance fee community, some of those make you pay up front because they are predicting that you're going to need higher care and it's covering some of that higher care. You're not here in this situation, you're not paying for higher care. You pay for higher care if and when you need it. And I'm guessing some of you on this call today may have already invested in long-term care plans. And one of the questions we often get is, should I keep my long-term care plan if I move into Ring House? Well, certainly, because that's the what ifs. That covers you financially for life's what ifs. So as you can see, the last bullet, it's not even a bullet, the point there is you have control of your investments instead of tying it up in entrance fees. Now, again, you got to determine what's right for you. I'm not trying to say entrance fee communities are not good. I've worked at one before and I've worked at a rental community, so I know them both very well. but we want to work with you to determine what's right for you. And as we look a little closer, we want to call these out. As you do your research, and you're going to find out there's obviously communities out there that are not for profit and there are communities for profit. This may or may not be important to you, but we like to call out obviously the difference. Charles E. Smith Life Communities is a not-for-profit organization that's been around 113 years. 113 years. That's telling you we're doing something right. We continue to do something right all the time. Not-for-profits have mission-based. We are mission-based. Absolutely. You're going to see some of the values here shortly in the slide. We're required by law and in the state of Maryland to reinvest profits back into the organization. Absolutely. We're governed by our board and required to hold operating reserves. We have to have a number of cash on hand to make sure that we can operate if there was ever a financial crisis. That's required. Nonprofits seem to be more stable. This is from our own experience. We see more stable populations and better cultures. They're culture driven. Now, on the for-profit side, we understand it. There's investors that the organization has to answer to. Sometimes we see lower retention rates in residents and staff because sometimes the bottom line needs to be affected. And at the end of the day, they make decisions based on staff to get that bottom line correct. And oftentimes, communities that are for-profit are owned by retirement investment trust funds and traded on the stock exchange. Again, we share this with you just to educate you and let you make the decision on what's right for you. So let's take a little bit deeper dive here, and I'm going to grab a little cup of coffee for a second. If there is any questions, please remember to put them in the chat box, and we're open up for Q&A here at the end. Consider how community living can keep you healthier and happier longer. We know this is true. We absolutely know. Continuing care communities like Ring House can make a major difference in healthy aging. Why do we say that? And we're going to share two studies right here. One was with Northwestern University and Mather Lifeways Institute on Aging, and examined the impact of communities on the easy access to that continuum of care. Again, I'm not trying to scare you. We may or may not need the continuum of care one day, but knowing that when you make a move to a community like Ring House, that it's there for you, and that safety net, as I say, is there for you, it really has a positive impact on our health. We know that 69% of the residents in this particular study reported somewhat or greatly improved social wellness. They just felt better after they moved to a community that offered a continuum of care. In the same study, residents reported greater social, physical, intellectual, and vocational wellness, and higher levels of physical activity and better nutrition. What's that mean? You can stay right where you live today, and I don't know where any of you live. You might be in a neighborhood in a single-family home. You might be in a condo that there is some activities in terms of maybe wellness and fitness. You may be in an apartment, but we do know through these studies that when you move to a community like Ring House that has an opportunity for you for good nutrition, social, fitness, wellness, it has a positive effect. And at the end of the day, we're not forcing you to get involved. You have these choices. And as we age and we make a move, all we ask is to have choices and options, but they're there for you. In another study conducted by Life Care Services, which is a very large for-profit, one of the largest in the country in senior living, their study shows that feelings of stress, low confidence, and self-esteem and roaring strain declined within 6 months after someone moved in. They felt better when they moved in. They didn't have to worry about things around the house. They didn't have to worry about maintenance. They didn't really have to feel like, tonight I don't feel like cooking. I can go to the dining room and have dinner or lunch with my friends and enjoy that. And then Life Care Services looked at these folks after a year of living there, and the residents were happier and healthier than the cohort of people they studied did not make the move. So they looked at people that made the move and people that stayed in their homes, and a year later, people that made the move were much better positioned and happier and healthier than the folks that stayed at home. We know this to be true. At the end of the day, you got to make the decision on what's right for you in the right community. We do this for a living all the time. This is our passion. And we respect the fact that if you decide to stay at home, that's an option, but we certainly know the value and benefits for a happier and healthier lifestyle when you make the move. I think last for me here, before I turn it over to my friend Maria, is consider health as a part of your financial journey. And we share this with you because we goes back to that slide where up front we talked about the options for you to move to an entrance fee community where you might tie up a lot of your financial resources moving to that type of community versus a community like Ringhouse where you don't have to tie up those financial resources. Again, some of you may have long-term care insurance, great. Some of you may opted out years ago. I don't want long-term care and I'll take that risk. So we know that the financial journey, it can change for folks if and when they might need higher care. So health problems at any stage of life can affect your financial stability. Obviously, we know bankruptcy, a lot of the number one leading cause of bankruptcies are caused by health conditions that change. So healthcare is also the biggest expense in our retirement. We know that to be true. So you need a sufficient amount of funds to be able to live, no matter what stage of life you are. And we really believe that, being able to move into a community like Ringhouse that doesn't require upfront costs, but gives you a great plan for independent living and access to higher levels of care on the same campus is a financial decision that's very wise for you. Again, if you have a long-term care plan, don't get rid of it. It works for you. If you decide to keep it, I shouldn't give you financial advice, by the way. I'm not supposed to do that. But we can talk through with you how your financial long-term care plan might work at Charles E. Smith as you go through the continuum of care, if you go through the continuum of care. So we're happy to talk to you about that as well. So with that, I can stop talking for a while, and I'm going to turn it over to Maria, and I'm going to drive the slides, Maria. So if you just want to tell me when to click through, I will.
Okay, well, thank you, Don. Thank you so much. Don gave us a lot of really helpful information. And like Don said, it is a lot to take in and understand all the different options that are out there. So with that, I am going to talk to you all a little bit about Charles E. Smith Life Communities specifically and all the benefits that we offer here. As Don mentioned, Charles E. Smith Life Communities has been around for 113 years, starting with the Hebrew home. And in 1964, Charles E. Smith helped source the funds and the land to build the community. The community has a rich history and is based on the values of doing what's right, acting with integrity, acting with kindness, acknowledging the value of each individual, and delivering the highest standards of service and hospitality. So you all are here today primarily to talk about Ringhouse because that is the independent living, and you all are active and independent and considering the community as an option. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the lifestyle and the community offerings here at Charles E. Smith Life Communities. Because the one thing we all hear over and over again is we hear, I wish I had moved sooner. And it's all about the lifestyle. So some of you may or may not be familiar with the location in Rockville, Maryland. It's a great location. We are across the street from shopping and restaurants. You've got the Bender Jewish Community Center right here. And the campus is about 38 acres, broken up into two sections. You've got the West Campus, which has Ringhouse Independent Living, Landau House Assisted Living, and Cohen Rose and Memory Care. And then on the East Campus, featuring the Hebrew Home of Greater Washington and the Post-Acute Health Center. The beauty is here, we are on 38 acres in Rockville, Maryland, great location, easy access to public transportation. You've got everything you need for social engagement and life enrichment with a secure campus, courtyards, on-site exercise and facilities. For those of you who are local, you probably know where we're located. And for those of you who are not, if you are coming from out of state, you may be familiar, but it's really great in location, close to Washington, D.C. and all that you need.
Oh, next slide. I'm sorry.
Yep, next slide,
you
sorry.
might need to trigger me there, Maria.
Don touched on this a little bit already, but the lifestyle of community living is really focused on improving your mental, emotional, and social well-being. You really get that sense of community, which combats social isolation. You've got a community of neighbors, residents, friends, and then you also have team members to really check in, make sure the residents are doing well. And then with that, you have a wide array of clubs, organizations, educational opportunities, allowing you to get as involved as you like. Another beauty of community living is the nutrition. Dining options available every day. You have a healthy, flavorful diet. And then adding to the health benefits, Charles E. Smith Life Communities employs 5 full-time medical doctors, with the Hirsch Health Center on campus at Ring House offering on-site primary and specialty care clinic, and then also physicians that make house calls for sick visits, which is really just, it's unheard of. They are in-house Charles E. Smith Life Community employees, not outsourced to a hospital, not an outside physician group. They are an in-house physician group.
I'd like to chime in a little bit on that. From my vast experience of traveling and working with communities across the country, I think Maria and I would say that we haven't seen anything quite like this available on campuses. It's very unique, really allowing you as an independent resident that may already have a relationship with a primary care doctor and or the physicians, the doctors or physicians you like to see. But if you don't, now it's very simple. It's right there on campus and you have easy access to it. And really, you know, the Hebrew Home of Greater Washington is really well known for their care. And they're very well known for this primary care opportunity. So it's a benefit and an offer that you may not see with other communities that you get at the Ring House. So I just want to add a little bit more weight to that.
You're exactly right, Don. And the great part, several great parts, but if you have a doctor already as you age, if you like the option of having it on site and not having to go out, not having to worry about transportation, it's right there. If you're moving from out of state and you need a new doctor, you don't have to worry about finding someone. It's already right there for you. So according to the CDC, social isolation and loneliness have been linked to increased risk for heart disease and stroke and type 2 diabetes. There are so many well-documented effects of social isolation and the lack of meaningful interactions. They've been studied, they've been reported, and especially as your age increases, age-related declines in physical wellness and increased risk of depression and cognitive decline are more and more apparent as you age. So there is just such a comfort and huge health benefit to living in a community, having access to those who can aid in recovery, be there quickly, and then also having that social interaction, which is proven to increase mood, reduce depression, and reduce cognitive decline. So Ring House, as we talked about, is the independent living community on Charles E. Smith Life Communities. And Don talked about the different kinds of communities that are out there, but Ring House is an all-inclusive monthly fee that includes everything that you need. So you've got dining, you've got a fitness center on campus, your housekeeping and maintenance is included. You don't have to worry about taking care of the home and all of those tasks that take up time and can get harder to do. You've got social clubs, educational opportunities. Charles E. Smith Life Communities is launching Life Lab, which is a series of educational and social events. This webinar being one of them. The community is pet friendly, so you can bring your furry friends with you if you've got a dog or a cat companion. You've got a salon on site, outdoor amenities, all of your utilities are included. So that really helps in aiding with your financial planning. You don't have to worry about your gas bill, your electric bill, and the changes that occur. It's adjacent to the Jewish Community Center, so you have access to that right there. You've got social clubs, you've got the primary care, which we talked about at Hirsch Health Center. And moving to Ring House, you being independent and active, hopefully, you don't think that you're going to need health services, but as you age, if you do, it's all on one campus. You've got assisted living, memory care, And you've got skilled nursing right there. So if you do need it in the future, they are available to you if and when you need them. And Dawn talked about how this community is not an entrance fee community, which is a huge benefit because you don't have to pay for those health services unless you need them. And as Dawn mentioned, we're a nonprofit with a 113-year history.
So I'm going to head off a question, Maria, that typically comes up right now, because this goes back to when I was talking about the monthly service fee, and we're all inclusive. And when you move into Ring House, the team helps you move in, you sign a residency agreement, you move in, you pay a monthly service fee, and you get all this, everything that's here. Sounds wonderful. Sounds like a cruise ship, but it's on land. Absolutely. The question is like, well, how often does my monthly service fee come? And in typical senior living experience, we as a not-for-profit, the monthly service fees cover the operating cost of Ring House. So every year, the CFO financial team reviews the budget, determines, where we're going to be, and if there is an increase for us, it's as low as possible. I don't have the history on what it has been at Ring House, but we review it based on what the operating cost is, and enough to make sure that we continue to provide the services and amenities that we promise. So I don't want to mislead folks in saying, hey, you move in and you live there 20 years and you paid the flat fee. Well, that's not true of any community, and that's part of why you're here, Community Living 101. So a lot of times we get that question, and I'm sure the team could share with you, if you met with them one-on-one, what the average increase has been over the last few years. But as a nonprofit, our goal is to meet the mission and make sure we cover our costs to provide the good care. Whereas a for-profit, may raise it, I've seen it as high as 10% on a for-profit or higher. So just want to share that with you.
That's a great point, Dawn. Thank you. And I know we've talked about this already, but I always like to hit home on this. A nonprofit community, a nonprofit, we still strive to make profits, but to reinvest it back into the community, to benefit the community, benefit the residents. So community living has its benefits for couples and solo agers. We're going to talk about both of that. But if you are part of a couple, living at a community like Charles E. Smith Life Communities and Ring House, especially starting out in independent living, really has so many benefits. And for spouses, it really allows them to stay together, especially if you have differing health needs. So if you have one spouse who has more health needs, needs a little bit more assistance, and one that is more independent, you have several options. You could start out in independent living with both of you and bring in some additional care if you need to through home care. Or if one of you needs assisted living or memory care, you can live one person in Ring House independent living and another in Landau House or Cohen Rosen, and have access to them right there on the same campus. You can be close to your spouse, conveniently located without having to travel back and forth to visit each other. Landau House and Cohen Rosen, you can actually visit without even having to go outside since the buildings are all connected. The beauty is senior living communities with this continuum of care, they provide financial stability, especially for couples who don't want to be separated due to an illness. And making that decision while it's still your decision is really helpful to really make sure that you get to stay together in the same location rather than having to make a decision when you need to and you have to do it quickly and you don't have a lot of options. There's also a huge benefit to solo agers. And when I say solo agers, you could be someone who's never been married. You could be a widow, or you could be someone who you have children, but maybe they're in a completely different part of the country and not able to see you as often as you like, or be able to do what you need in order to help you as you age. So community living really helps increase and improve that social and recreational engagement. You've got the security of being on a secure campus. Again, get to make your plan while it's your decision, while you're able to, instead of having someone else make that plan for you. Having that community, you get to have a whole group of people, neighbors, residents, staff members, associates who will check on you, bring you chicken soup, bring you food if you need it. You have access to the physician care on site, sick visits in your apartment if you need it, in-home recovery, rehab, and then also resources for financial and legal affairs. It can connect you with people if you need assistance with that.
Fantastic. I do see a question that I want to answer, not answer quickly, but get back to. And thank you, Angelique, for doing that. It has to do with what the average increase in the monthly services fee has been. And Angelique has shared with me it's been between 2 to 3%, which I would tell you from the communities we work with is very reasonable. Some communities I work with, we're saying 4 to 5. So that bodes well. That says Ring House is doing a lot of good things. So thank you, Angelique. There is another question in there that I think, Toby, we'll get to your question about the difference between Ring and Revit's house, and I'll let the team answer that here as we get towards the end, but that's a very good question. So we will answer that. Maria?
All right, thanks, Don. So we've given you a whole lot of information today. Hopefully everyone's learned something new, if not a lot of new things for you to digest today. So sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. What do you do next? So we want you to take everything you learned today and turn that into wisdom and help you as you take your next steps. I always recommend, as you're on this journey, wherever you are, if you're just starting to look or if you are far down the journey, I say take the 4 to 5 most important things to you and write them down. What's most important to you? Is it food? Is it location? Is it apartment size? It could be a lot of different things. Write down what's most important to you in your new home. Next, go out and explore, visit, tour, research your communities, ask questions, make a short list, go back and visit more than once, take a tour and see every part of it that is important to you. You especially want to refer back to that list of what's important to you and make sure that you look into that. Set up a free consultation. So if you are selling your home, especially if you've lived in it for a long period of time, or if you're like me, it doesn't take long to put a lot of stuff in a place and then have to think about moving that, and what do you keep and what do you take with you? Do you get rid of everything and buy all new furniture, or do you take some of what you have? And it's a lot to think about. So set up a consultation with a right sizing consultant. It's never too early to start thinking about this, regardless of where you are in the journey. And they can really help you take the steps that you need to take to move and think about what it is that you're taking with you or what you're getting rid of. If you own a home, get a real estate assessment. Now's a great time to really look at your home and what your home is worth. So get a real estate assessment. And I know the group has recommendations for people that you can meet with if you need someone, if you don't have one already. And then really communication is key. So share your decision with your family, your attorney, your accountant. If finances are a concern, talk with your financial consultant. Really get everyone involved that may be interested in this. If you have adult children that live in the area and that is something that you're considering, bring them to tour with you. Really just get everyone involved so that you know that you're making the right decision for you.
I absolutely love this, Maria, this list that you shared today. We've all made big decisions in life, whether it's purchased a car or home. And it's the same approach here for senior living. What we often hear is people, we retire, we're in the third of our life, we're enjoying things, and we just kind of let life happen. Don't stop planning. It's like when you went and bought a car, you just didn't go out there and just say, I'm looking for a car. You narrowed it down to type of car. When I buy a house, you narrowed it down. You had a list of what was important. The same thing is true here. Don't let life tell you. You tell life what you want to do. So this list is fantastic, Maria. And if you don't know, if you're not really sure, that's when, the sales counselor, John and Hannah, will sit down with you and help you be advocates to really understand what your options are. So, top 3 priorities we often hear, people want to make a move. Location's important. Dining's always up there. And a lot of times it's location near family and the continuum of care. And that might be your top 3. And then you do some shopping. But thank you for sharing this. This is a fantastic list and good to remember as we start your search whether you're just starting or whether you've been doing it for a while. Now, we're at the tail end of the presentation. We do have a question that I did say that we would get back to, and I see Toby's added another follow-up, so we're going to answer your questions here, but we got a few more slides. We just shared about a half hour of really good information, and we kind of like to bring a little sense of humor here. And what I'm going to share with you is the top 10 reasons people don't move. Things I've heard, and so the team heard over the years, from why people say, hey, I'm just going to stay where I am. I'm not going to do anything. But these might relate to you. You might fall in one of these top 10 and say, that's me. But let's just share a few of these. These might be able to really resonate with you. Number 10, we are waiting. The question we're going to say, waiting for what? Make your own decisions. Don't stop planning. Don't let life dictate, because when life dictates and says you need care, you can't see me. When you have options today, it's wide open. But as we wait and life dictates, our options get narrow, and that's a tougher time. Number 9, I'm staying in my home, or we're staying in my home. We hear that. Great. But make a plan. If you can decide to stay where you are, let your family or friends know, let the neighbors know, because you might need that support. So that's a legit one. Number 8, I can't even begin to think about it. Yes, you can. You're here today and you're thinking about it. So let us help you. Come and see the team. We often hear that one. Where do I start? Where do I start? Well, you started with Community 101 this morning, and you've already got a good foundation going. Number 7, our kids want us to move in with them. No, we don't. We say that because we love you. And I don't want my father living with me, and my father doesn't want to live with me either. So we hear that, but that's not a good reason not to move. I am not ready. Guess what? If you say to John or Hannah, I am not ready, they're probably going to say, what does ready mean to you? How do you know when you're ready? Versus saying, I know what I want, and maybe this is the best time. As Maria said, and I guarantee you, Hannah and John, who live there, none of the residents have ever walked up to them and said, wow, I moved 5-10 years too soon. We hear the opposite. Wow, I wish I would have made this decision to move sooner. This is fantastic. So that's the answer to number 6. Number 5, we are too young. It's not about age, my friends. Not about age. This is a 62 plus community. So the 35-year-olds aren't going to be moving into Ringhouse with you. But it's not about age. If it was about age, we would say, how old are you? Then we'd say, oh, you're not ready. It's about you, and determine when it's right for you in life. Number 4, I can't afford it. Now this is, and we're going to answer a question that Toby put in there. And I think in chat, my friend Angelique probably looks like you might have even started answering it. Thank you very much, Angelique. But this is what we do. We help you understand the financials situation of the community and understand your financials. So when you meet with us one-on-one, you're going to build a relationship with the team, and you're going to share some of your financials, so we can make sure we can really find a good match and help you there as well. That's a legit question. Number 3, we have too much. I think Maria said we all have too much. Don't let that mountain of stuff in your home, in your condo, wherever you live, be a reason for not considering a move. There's companies out there, once you decide you're going to make a move, that come in, right size, downsize you like this, and it's not that tough. Number 2, we are in great health, or I'm in great health. If I was in front of you, I'd say, raise your hand if you want to move when you're in poor health. No one raises their hand, because we know, whether it's our personal experience with loved ones, friends, family, whoever it may be, moving when you are not in great health is not easy. Moving when you're in good health, living independently, you have options galore. Wait for it. We often hear this, the number 1 reason: I don't like old people. You know, I will tell you, my father lives in a community. He's 92 years old. He thinks he's 70. And I love it. And this goes back to that age question I asked at the front. A lot of people, when you walk into a community, they meet with John and Hannah, and they walk in and they see folks that, oh man, they look old. That's not me. That's not me. That's me. Because internally, we perceive ourselves to be 20 years younger. But when you move in, it's not about the old people, but we do hear that. So it's kind of funny. So I'm going to go.
So Don, before you move on, I want to touch on number 9 that you hit, about a reason people don't want to move is because they are in great health. And I'm going to say, we are in great health is a great reason to move, because when you're no longer in good health, a lot of times you're no longer independent. You are looking at assisted living, and you're looking at memory care. So when you are in great health, that is the best time to move to independent living, because then you get to really take advantage of all of the lifestyle that independent living has to offer.
Absolutely. So thank you. Now I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons to choose Ring House and why you should. So we're going to go through these. Number one, social interaction. You have social opportunities galore. We just mentioned that you move in. That's up to you whether you want to get involved. Number 9, new lifestyle. Oftentimes we hear people say, I did things I've never done before. I've gotten involved with exercise programs. I went to the pool. I got involved with this group or that group. 100% we see that, because why? It's available to you. If you stay where you are, it's not readily available. And if it's available, it might be across the city and you have to get in your car and go. And so I'm not going to do that. Number 8, there's activities and programs. There's ongoing calendar of activities and programs. Again, you choose what you want to get involved with. Number 7, wellness programs. If you want to go down to the exercise room and work out, you want to be in a group exercise class, it's available for you, no extra cost. It's just up to you whether you want to do that today. Number 6, peace of mind, 100%. You know, as we age, it doesn't matter. I got 2 young boys. They always are worried about how safe we are here. We always worry about where we live and the security in today's crazy world. So peace of mind knowing you're in a good community where it's safe and has access to activities and opportunities and friendships that you may not have right now is a great peace of mind. Number 5, dining options. Now, when you move into Ring House, you have a kitchen. If you enjoy cooking, fantastic. You get to continue cooking. But maybe tonight, I don't want to cook. I'm going to go down and have dinner with my friends, and I'm going to come back and watch the World Series or something. So if you don't want to cook, you can go down and use your dining credits to have a nice dinner with friends. 4, transportation's available. You know, you want to go somewhere, there's transportation. We can get you to and from different destinations. Low maintenance, number 3, low maintenance lifestyle. Hey, don't worry about fixing anything. You might have been the handiest person around, but if something goes wrong in that apartment, we cover it. If your dishwasher goes bad or the refrigerator goes out, that's a part of our responsibility. We'll fix it, replace it. Number 2, we talked a little bit about security. You're in a safe place. You know, no one's just walking in the door at Ring House without checking in. We know who's in the building, and you know you're in a safe place. And number 1, why the number 1 reason to move to a place like Ring House? What a great plan it is for you, and what a wonderful gift you can give to your family. Because I know I can speak from experience. When my father told me he was ready to move to his community, and I'm one of 5, we all said, outstanding. We know who's going to live in a great place. So very important. So I hope some of these top 10 reasons to move resonate with you and are a good reason to consider. Now we're on the
Don, before you head on to that, Angelique just answered the question about security, and since you touched on it, I'm going to just share it with the whole group.
Please.
Angelique, thank you for putting that in there. Angelique said that on the security, we have a security partner, Secure Community Network, patrols the campus 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the safety of residents and associates.
Fantastic. And there's an answer. Do you also want to answer the question on the difference between Revit's and Ring House?
Absolutely. So again, thank you, Angelique, for putting that in the chat. Revit's House is a more affordable option for independent living, depending on certain financial criteria. Ring House is the market rate independent living residence. So the great thing is, Don talked again about affordability being sometimes a question that people have, is whether or not they can afford it. And the beauty is there are so many options at Charles E. Smith Life Communities. So depending on what you're looking for, you could have an option either at Ring House or at Revit's House. And we can have a counselor connect with you to talk about your specific individual needs and the best fit for you.
That's great questions, Toby. So as you know, if we don't hear from you, the team is excellent following up, and John or Hannah would be one of them, would reach out to you and love to be able to answer more questions and meet with you one-on-one. So guess what? We have some fabulous upcoming events at Ring House, and the next one is 2 days away. And if you can get there, we'd love to have you on Thursday at 10 a.m. for the Victorian Lyric Opera recital. And what a great opportunity to hear some fabulous performers, meet the team in person, enjoy some light appetizers and beverage. We also have a Zoom webinar coming up on November 8th, The Truth About Getting Your Affairs in Order. I think it's great informational. Then you see the holiday centerpiece class coming up on November 14th. And then we have this same webinar offered on the 28th of November and then December. You're more than welcome to come back and have a refresher, but maybe you have friends, maybe you have family members, maybe you have children, and you say, hey, this is what I'm considering, and I want you to listen in. So there's always a number of events you can get involved with to learn more about who we are. And the best way to do it is you can see our what we call our micro site, our website, which is called CESLC.org, and then you can go there, and if you put /events, you'll go right to the event page. But if you just go CESLC.org, you're going to go to our microsite as well. So with that, we are at the question period. Before I open it up for questions, we're ready to, if you're ready to learn more, we're ready to meet you. So as I mentioned a second ago, John and Hannah are very good at following up, and they would be reaching out. If we don't hear from you, they will give you a call, reach out to you by phone or email, whatever forms of communication we have for you, because I can guarantee you, we hang up here 5-10 minutes, half hour, an hour down the road, you're going to say, oh, I should ask that question. So if we don't hear from you, you're going to hear from us. We're going to invite you in for a tour and help you out as much as possible. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing so we can bring everyone up on the screen. If you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself. Go back down to the lower left corner where your microphone is red with a slash through it. Click on it. That will unmute you. And if you have a question, fire away. We're here for you. And at the same time, we'll see if we answer all questions in the chat. Don't be shy. Fire away. Toby, did we get all your questions answered?
I have another question.
Good. I knew you did. See, I put you on the spot, Toby, so go ahead.
That's okay. If you want to go to your own specialist, doctor specialist, what kind of transportation is provided?
Great question. I'm going to let one of the team members, whether it's Angelique, Hannah, or John, tell you a little bit more about the transportation. Can someone chime in on that?
Yes, I can. So for the transportation, so if you don't see our primary care doctor that's in our lower level of Ring House, but you want to see, let's say, another specialist or things like that, we don't have transportation that we can arrange for you for that, but we have companies that do a lot of business with us that we can recommend based on, you know, what transportation you need. Some residents have cars, some residents Uber, some residents take other transport companies, so it just depends.
But we would help you manage that process to make sure, Toby, you get to your specialist.
Thank you.
Good question.
Also, I want to add too that the JCA has a program, a Connect a Right program as well.
Fantastic. What else is on your minds out there? Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. No questions, a dumb question. There are a ton of them.
Chances are, if you're thinking about a question, someone else might have the same question. So please feel free to ask.
As you're thinking about it, part of the process, you come in and the team will tour you through Ring House. Will show you different apartment sizes and what's available to you to pick from. We renovate these apartments. We make sure they're as new as possible when you move in. Whether it's an appliance that needs to be replaced, painting, carpet. And then if there's a need for you to customize it, we would walk you through those options. If there's options about, say, maybe you want a certain product or certain feature in your apartment changed, we try to make this your home as much as possible. And things like housekeeping and other options like that. So I'm just looking to see if there's any other questions in the chat. Any other questions? Michael, do you have anything on your mind, Michael? I know you always have a good question. Yeah, making Michael unmute himself. There you go. Anyway,
let's see.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. What do we miss, Michael? Michael's been selling and working in this industry a long time in rental communities himself. So is there anything that Maria, I might have missed that we can share today?
No, I think you covered it so much. They just have a wonderful, I would say, talk a little bit more about all the cultural and activities and things that they do there. They're connected with so many rich historic traditions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. It's got the rich Jewish history and background, but we're open to all walks of life. That's very important. And we should have mentioned that up front. Thank you. Yes, that's who we are. That's the foundation. We are a Jewish community, rich in those, and you saw those values. But our requirements is you're over 62, you're a good fit, you can live independently. If you can't live independently and you need assistance, we'll help you with that. So we're very diverse community when it comes to your religious background, no matter what it might be.
I saw another question in here, and Angelique, John, or Hannah, whoever wants to field this one. Could you talk a little bit about which meals are included in the monthly fees?
I can do it. Am I on?
Yes, you are. Go, John.
Thank you.
We have two options. Actually, as part of your monthly fee, you get breakfast and you get dinner. Breakfast we have starts at 8 a.m. and goes until 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, and then 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the weekends. Dinner time we have two seatings at 4:30 and then at 6 p.m. as well. As you mentioned, Don, earlier, we are a Jewish community. Our food that we serve is kosher, but under that kosher umbrella, there's a wide variety of food. Everything from like Mexican mole chicken to gefilte fish and everything in between. So we have a wide variety of food options.
You're making me hungry, John. Is there? I've been on campus a few times. I know there's the main dining, and then there's a smaller cafe or there as well.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, we know dining's important. This included. It's always up to you whether you come down, but I've had good experiences there, and I will be on campus next week having another one. So we invite you to come in and experience that. Great question. Any other questions out there? Anything on anyone's mind? And really, John or Hannah, if there's anything that we should have mentioned that we haven't, please feel free to chime in right now.
I want to just add a fun fact. You touched on the location and the location near or across the street from the Bender JCC. All of our residents do receive a 10% discount in their membership.
That's great.
Oh, great.
And that's really fantastic because that has access to a swimming pool across the street, is my understanding.
Yeah, and employees get it too. And in fact, Hannah is a member over there. She didn't share that, but she is. I know she is. And I'm thinking about it.
Yes, and they have their outdoor pool is heated and open year round, so you don't always see that in Maryland. So if you're a swimmer, it's a good idea.
So
I just wanted to mention one more thing that we didn't talk about. We have a really extensive music program here. We have the Iris Trio. It's classically trained musicians, cello, violin, and piano. And then we have a wide variety of other entertainment that we bring in. We had a Frank Sinatra imitator last winter, filled the room downstairs. We had the full band. We had barbershop quartets. We have jazz. So we have a wide variety of music programs that we offer here.
Well, I think when I was there recently, I saw some folks even dancing on a small dance floor. So I know there's some people, again, that goes back to, you don't want to give up what you enjoy doing. Mm-hmm. And we don't ask you to. If you like to dance and you still enjoy dancing at 70, 80, 90, do it. We're going to make sure that it's being done. And I'm glad John and Hannah are chiming in on these things, that they're there every day. This is why we so encourage you to take the time to come in, whether it's 60 minutes, 90 minutes, and meet with the two of them, have a tour, get to know what's available, and really test drive the community. And one of the best ways to do it is come to one of those on-campus events that are coming up.
I do see one more question.
Yes, ma'am, go for it.
They are asking if we provide any incentives for move-in.
I will let one of the teams answer that, because I'm not sure if there is one right now. I know in the past there has been, but I'm not sure what is available today.
Yeah, so we do have two different incentives. Well, technically it's a this or that. So we're discounting certain apartments that are a little bit farther away from the elevators. So they still have really nice views. They're just a little bit farther of a walk. So we're offering discounted rents on those apartments. And that will be a continuing discount, or we're offering half off our one-time community fee. As Dawn and Maria touched on, we're not an entrance fee community, so we're a monthly rental, but we do have an amenity fee when you come in. So for that amenity, we're offering half off of that fee, and that fee is usually $5,500.
Thank you.
And that's a one-time fee, right, Hannah? That's
Yes, one time. You only pay it when you come in. It's not annual or anything like that.
Great.
Thank you.
Right. And again, there's another good reason to come in and take a look at those apartments and see where they are. And that's very typical in senior living communities that have high rise, you have a main elevator shaft and you see apartments further away, and they oftentimes will have some type of special offer on them. But for a guy like me, I love getting my steps in. So,
and the views are great. You get a lot of different views as you go around the building. So if that's important to you, there's some really nice ones.
Fantastic. Well, we're right on our hour. Unless someone has any other questions, I don't see anyone unmuting themselves. We know you're going to have more. We so appreciate you giving us this hour. We hope you've learned more than you knew before. And we really want to be advocates for you. We love what we do. We're passionate about it. And we would love to have you come visit us. So I'm not seeing any other microphones become unmuted, and I don't think we have anything else in the chat box, unless Angelique or Maria, you see anything. So with that, thanks again. We hope you have a wonderful Tuesday and the rest of your week, and we hope that we'll see you Thursday. Give us a call if you want to RSVP for that, and we'll give you the information on how to get to Ring House and come enjoy some incredible opera live. So again, thank you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.